Good afternoon, guys. It is High Priestess Jamila, and I am tired and have not had coffee yet. That of which I'm about to go and get. So, I've got other stuff that I got to take care of today because I have clients. I do have a life, I have a family that I am so in love with. But I wanted to, but today I'm going to have to deal with stalkers. Unfortunately, I've got to deal with stalkers who are very delusional. And please don't ever get it twisted. A stalker is a stalker is a stalker. Never give them the benefit of the doubt that they are anything else, because that is what they are. They are stalkers and they are very delusional. And what's interesting is that today I have to actually prove to the public, because of a stalker that's on the internet that actually stalked me outside of the internet. And I'm thinking about contacting the police and following up on a police report that I had to make against this person, because there is a report that was filed in Gwinnett County against this person. So I think I'm going to go ahead and contact the police department. Seriously, this is very real. Okay. About a woman who I parted ways with years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, actually. Actually, I was only cool with her for a few months. Big, 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 big mistake. And this one thinks that she's a witch. So I'm thinking about doing that. But what I wanted to point out, the stalkers that we're dealing with are desperate for validation. Yeah. Not only that, they're delusional. So there's a stalker as well. It's a couple, actually. It's a stalker couple, which stalkers that are in a couple type situation can't claim to be an actual real couple. If you were a real couple and actually together, you wouldn't be stalking people. These are two people that deserve to go to prison. Okay? They need to be in jail, which is what I've been saying for the longest. Have literally been going around. If you are harassing somebody, stalking somebody, trying to start crap, you don't have anything real in your life. I'm sorry, you don't. You don't. Okay? So, stalkers are so delusional that when you block them from communicating with them, this doesn't mean that you don't want to communicate with them. No. For a stalker, this means that you actually do want to communicate with them. No, it wasn't enough that I blocked you from calling my phone. It wasn't enough that I blocked you from Messenger. That wasn't enough. No, no. Because High Priestess Jamila is going to get a restraining order. I know for a fact that I can at least get that against this female. Probably her dude too. Okay. No, I blocked you from communicating with me because I actually do want to communicate with you. Excuse me, stalkers. Let me ask you a question. So, if someone blocks you because they don't want to communicate with you, and they do never communicate with you, that means that they actually do want to talk to you. Wow, I didn't know that it worked that way. Okay, let's talk about the male who is bragged about threatening to grape women, which is something new, recently new. So we all know that he's going to get dealt with on site. Okay. On the internet, trying to convince people that the person that he's stalking actually does want a relationship with him, and that no actually means yes. Let's talk about that. So, to a stalker who is delusional and desperate, I actually didn't want a relationship with you because I did. So I didn't want a relationship with you in 12 years because I actually did. No, wait a minute. I blocked you. Don't ever communicate with you. Don't ever call you. Totally ignore you besides paying attention to you because you're stalking. That actually meant that I did want to do it, even though I don't do it. So the stalkers want to convince us that even though we didn't do something, that we actually wanted to. So this is their tactic. Oh no, this person never attempted to meet up with me. This person never talks to me, but they want to. They want to talk to me. New tactic by the stalkers. I thought they typically, when people wanted to do something, they did it. No, the stalkers are trying to convince people, everybody, that the people that they rejected, that rejected them, no, they actually still wanted them, even though even though everything is proven otherwise. So this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with stalkers who can't handle rejection because typically stalkers cannot handle rejection. No, you actually didn't reject me. No, you actually didn't block me because you didn't want to talk to me. No, that's not what happened. You actually didn't tell me several times that you didn't want to engage with me. No, you didn't really mean that. What you meant after never, ever talking to me was that you actually wanted to talk to me. And if you come to social media and tell people, make it known that you want nothing to do with this person, that's you trying to talk to me. So, right now, to a stalker, I'm trying to talk to them. I'm trying to conversate with them because to a stalker that's very delusional, going to the police, going to the police and saying, hey, can you help me with this person? They're stalking me. That doesn't actually mean that you're rejecting them. No, that means that you just want to see them in court. That's what that means. That's what that means. It doesn't mean that I actually, no, no. And listen, if you go to jail, if a stalker goes to jail, no, that's real love. When you put a stalker in jail, okay, hold on. So if a stalker that you know is stalking you, you know what that person looks like. What if they walk up to you and you murder them out of fear because they've already been stalking you? When you murder them and they're laying down on the concrete bleeding to death and they die, no, that didn't mean that you actually wanted them to die. You didn't want them to die. You wanted them, even though they're dead. No, that meant that you loved me. Really? That meant that you actually wanted me. The fact that you rejected me for years and am telling me that if I ever come around you, that you're going to use deadly force. That means, wow, that's love. That's real love. The fact that I want you off of the planet so you can't stalk and harass me anymore. Oh goodness. And we're all supposed to believe this because of a desperate stalker. Oh my God, I'm desperate. I can't handle it. So today, at some point, a female. So I have a male and a female stalker right now. I've got a couple of different couples that are stalking me. Two of them might be a mother and son incestuous couple. Okay. I don't know how that happened, but whatever. So today I will be over on the other channel a little bit later, uh, discussing and showing proof that I rejected this female years ago on several occasions. Then I also have to prove her contacting me from different numbers. So there's three different numbers that this stalker chick contacted me from. The first number that was always her number is the first number where I said, "Hey, I don't want anything to do with you anymore," basically. Okay, see, this is the reason why I keep receipts. This is the reason why I have to now prove, because for some reason, and I don't even see, like, it's so bizarre. How do you do that? I didn't ask for an association with these people. It was almost like it was weird because I don't associate with people like that. I don't, right? This chick contacted me from two different numbers now that I think about it, because when I was looking through this person's messages last night to give to someone else, this person actually had three different contact numbers that they contacted me on right after the rejection, and then shortly after that, telling me who they are. So they identified themselves, a female who clearly had some kind of problem because she posed as a client. Contacted me from two different phone numbers so that I wouldn't know that it was her. Or maybe she wasn't sure that I would talk to her. Of course, you know, you just don't see that kind of stalking coming. See, whatever I see is what I manifest, right? So you're just not seeing a stalker, right? Nobody sees stalking for them in the future. Nobody. I mean, stalkers tend to come out of the blue, is what they do. Okay. These stalkers are special. They want to convince people that even though I blocked your number, even though I don't talk to you, even though you have no way of contacting me, that you want it. You want it. I want it but yet I didn't do anything to get it. Yeah. Okay. That's what that means. This is a sick mind of a stalker, especially a stalker that's desperate for some kind of validation on the internet and on drugs. Oh, you didn't block me because you actually didn't want to talk to me. You blocked me because you did want to talk to me. Wow, that's what that means, doesn't it, stalkers? When a person blocks you, and I'm not talking about a temporary blocking. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the male in stalker that's stalking me on the internet, guys. I've had him blocked for years. In fact, not only that, he's been smart enough to not contact me behind the scenes. I've got his profiles on each social media blocked, including on TikTok. I don't know about Instagram, but they will create fake troll accounts so that you can't block them because for some reason, to a stalker, they should go and view your social media. They never see you viewing their social media. Never. Stalkers never see you viewing their social media, but yet you're stalking them. Stalkers are being told, hey, why don't you leave me alone? No, stop and don't. That apparently means yes to a stalker. Somehow they're delusionally finding herpes on your lips. Apparently, the video that I put up on June the 1st, there's a herpes on my lip, guys. Go look at that video. Apparently, I have a herpes on my lip in the video, even though there's no herpes. I can assure you there's no herpes on my lip. Apparently, in that video, there's a herpes on my lip, and all the stalker has to do is put a circle around it, or either like put a little dark mark on it or something to make it look like some kind of weirdness. But then when you go look at the original footage, you're like, wait a minute, there's nothing there. This is what stalkers do. So pretty much stalkers who need to go to jail, because I think that probably somewhere between today and tomorrow, I'm going to be following up with the police. Okay. I can assure you, listen, let me say this to the stalker, the male stalker. I know it's difficult to use any kind of rationale, like you're very irrational and weird. But do you realize that people that actually do meet up and have a relationship, you do realize that people that have actually had real relationships with people end up stalking those people sometimes. I'm not talking about the two times that I met up with the other, you know what I'm saying, on a professional tip. I'm talking about people that meet up and have relationships and even children together. Do you know that those people sometimes get stalked by that person? Do you know that even though those people can have children together, children, that the police still see it as stalking because someone has made it clear to you, I don't want anything to do with you. I don't want an interaction with you. So the police will provide a restraining order, or and typically the stalker does violate that restraining order. But do you realize that? So you as a person on the internet, on the internet, right? Why do you think that what you're doing is not being viewed as stalking? Why do you think that it's any different? Why do you think that there's going to be some kind of fucking miracle to where the police are not going to see it as stalking when it is? When there's people that have been married and divorced that have stalked each other and went to jail for it. You somehow are just going to go scot free because of what? Because I think internet stalkers are more delusional, right? They're obviously worse. I would, well, I can't. Typically in real life, you've got people that are stalking people that are going to kill people. I'm not worried about being killed. I'm not worried about my safety. I'm gonna tell you why, because I have a demon named Valafor, and I work with him to protect me from being murdered, essentially. That's my relationship with Valafor, is to protect me from being murdered, to protect my family, to protect my loved ones. Okay. Sometimes it's necessary. I can't be a good little church girl. I can't do that. It's not going to happen. It just wasn't in the cards for me. I got 666 in the cards and that was it. It just is the way that it is. Okay. And Valafor might go ahead and do me a favor. Might want to read up on him and consider him, because I'm going to tell you something. I've gotten tired of it. So Valafor might go ahead and do me a favor. Anyway, to the stalkers, no means no. Okay? No means no. Hold on, y'all. Okay. All right. I'm back, y'all. Sorry about that. So listen, let me wrap this up because I gotta go get coffee. Listen, stalkers. When somebody has you consistently blocked for 10 years, that means they don't want anything to do with you. That's what that means. It doesn't mean that they do want something to do with you. Okay? It doesn't. Let me give you a case in point. I had a female that I knew for 20 years who was stalking me on this platform too, with the same people. Okay? I wanted nothing to do with her at that point. She caused a lot of issues. I was very close with her. Just loved her to pieces. When she began stalking me, I wanted nothing to do with her. Do you know that there was a point that there were a couple of different points of contact in social media between me and that person? I was cordial with that person. That was it. There were several times throughout the years where this person would go on panels in social media, on live stream panels. She was either talking about other people or talking about me. And I would go on those panels. Sometimes just to, I don't know. Sometimes people do things. I mean, I was friends with her for 20 years, right? So, you know what? When I would get done with that panel with her, there was no personal conversation with her after that. There was no attempt. Hey, Stevan, there was no attempt that I made to get in contact with her beyond social media. And I'm talking about YouTube. What does that tell you? That tells you what? That says, hey, I'm speaking to you on a panel. Does that mean that I want to talk to you behind the scenes in my personal inbox? No. But I can be cordial with you. I can even tell a few jokes with you. Doesn't mean that I want to speak to you behind the scenes. Doesn't mean that I want you in my life. Doesn't mean that I want to talk to you every day. Doesn't mean anything. So I think that sometimes with some people, because she knew that and she wasn't tripping because I didn't have an issue. I mean, she would just have other people harass and stalk me. Uh, just because a person spoke to you on a live stream or, remember Google Hangouts, doesn't mean that they necessarily want to talk to you behind the scenes. Doesn't mean that they want you in their personal space. I personally, sometimes when I come to YouTube, unless it's a vlogger that I really like, that and that's few and far between. If I like and I respect their content, I would be willing to collab with them, but that would be of a different genre, not a stalking committee. Um, then that's different. You know what I'm saying? But if I have you block, when a person blocks you, when a person blocks you and keeps you blocked and doesn't say anything to you at all, that pretty much means that that person has chosen to not associate themselves with you for whatever reason. Hey, let me tell you something. Socially, it is never going to be socially acceptable for someone to say, hey, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want anything to do with you. And for you to ask why. Why is not, I mean, it's obvious why. But if a person rejects you, doesn't mean that they have to explain to you why. People do not have to explain to you why they don't want to talk to you, why they don't want a regular interaction with you. They don't have to do that. Nobody owes you that. You see what I'm saying? That doesn't mean that it's something wrong with them. That doesn't mean that they're mentally ill, especially when you are doing certain things that they don't like. If a person doesn't want to talk to you, if they don't want to meet you, if they don't want to sleep with you, they don't have to tell you why. That's with anybody. They don't owe you an explanation. They don't have to explain it. That's something that's going to be inexplicable. It's up to you to just move on with your life. That's just end of story. Cut it off. Cut. You don't go around the internet taking screenshots of the person trying to hold on to a bone that the person threw you. I mean, at this point, this is when you deserve, honestly, you deserve to get played with. And don't nobody care over here. Listen, I'm going to tell you something. Nobody can make me regret anything. I am not that type of person to have regrets about anything that I have done. Okay. Not like that. If it's something that I've done that was wrong to somebody that I care about, which I don't do things wrong to people that I care about. I don't actually do that. Okay. In fact, I've never done that. Anybody that I've cared about, I have never done anything that I regret deeply. Okay. I haven't. There's no deep regrets for me. The people that I love and care about, they don't, they get gold star treatment. Okay. But I'm not going to regret ever talking to a stalker or acknowledging them. The stalkers want here's the thing, they're so desperate for validation and they can't take rejection that they're willing to hold on to anything, any and everything. Even the slightest thing that means nothing. Okay? So, that's just what that is. But anyway, y'all, I'm going to get me some coffee. I will talk to y'all soon. Oh, this is, by the way, I don't know if I'm gonna throw this vlog away or not, because honestly, no one's concerned about stalkers. I had a stalker that kept calling my phone. I don't know if they thought that I was some lady in a movie that was freaked out by the phone. I'm not freaked out by the phone. Like I said, uh I conjure my demons every day and they want your throat. So I'm not worried about that. But it's just the point, because I truly believe, where's my other shoe? I truly believe that stalkers want people to think the way that they think. They want people to believe in what they believe in. Okay. They want people to believe that even though one thing has happened in actual reality, that in some other reality, something else is happening. And that's not the way that it works. Okay. That's just like if I haven't contacted you in several years at all. I have made no attempts to contact you. And then you contact me. That doesn't mean that I contacted you. That means that you contacted me. Okay. And you have to be very, very careful about these people that you talk to in your inbox. I've never seen people behave this way. It's typically surrounding this one particular woman in social media, to where you can't even, if somebody is cordial, you can't even be cordial, because if you're cordial with someone, it means something else, and it doesn't. You know what I mean? Or maybe these people, the way they look at the witchy community, the way they look at witches is, you did some kind of spell on me, and I can assure you I didn't do a spell on you to do anything. So I put a spell on you to make you stalk me, to force me to get in touch with the popo. No, I'm not going to create a situation where I need to contact the police and conjure a very dangerous demon, which he's not dangerous to me. I love Valifor. He is such a sweetheart, and he is very, very protective over me and my family. So I have no issues with Valifor. Okay. In fact, I'm grateful that I was able to form a relationship with him, very close relationship with a demon called Valifor. Yes, this is no joke. And he will, okay? He will, trust me, he will teach the stalkers a thing or two, okay? Yes, he will. He always does, okay? All right, y'all. I gotta go get coffee and get started on my day. I'll see y'all later. Y'all have a good one. Okay. Don't believe the stalkers. The stalkers are liars. They're desperate for validation. Stalkers typically cannot handle rejection. And they better learn, because when your stalking becomes such a danger to a person to where they can't even peacefully run their business, Yeah, this is when yeah, you know, this is when you have a choice. This is a dire situation for the stalkers. I am not a Christian. I have said it so many times. I am a witch of Hecate. Okay? She is a doorway to these dark spirits. And I will keep them invoked. Yes, I will. When the stalking stops, Valafor is in here now. His number is number 6. Yes. Oh, they got people that donate to them because those people are confused. But Stefan, you notice how for some reason people that donate to stalkers die. Their donators die. Have you noticed that? It's weird. There have been several people that have donated to this specific particular person that have died or either got killed. I wouldn't deal with them. They're bad news. I'm telling you. I had one of them in my house. I didn't even know she was a stalker. I had one of them in my house in 2020, posing as a client, and she turned out to be a stalker. And she brought nothing but bad juju into my house, probably because somebody else had to curse her. You know what I'm saying? You know, people are rejecting these people for a reason. Typically people have a good reason to reject you. Maybe it's just that you don't agree with that person. Y'all just not meshing well, and you've got to accept that. But they don't. They don't accept it. So, I can see the stalkers gonna get crazy this summer. I gotta go, y'all, because I'm about to lose signal right now. I gotta go.